Rebecca stood still, watching as the moving trucks filled the driveway of her family's home. Boxes were stacked high, each one labeled with the memories of her childhood. Moments and places that had defined her entire world. She felt as if the very foundation of her life was slowly slipping away, fading into the distance. Her heart grew heavy, weighed down by the thought of leaving everything she had ever known behind. Rebecca had always known the comforting embrace of her church community. She had been raised in an environment where faith was not just a belief, but a way of life. Giving her life to Christ at the tender age of 10, she had lived by the commandments of God, guarding her purity and finding strength in her church family. But everything changed when her father received an irresistible job offer in another state. The news brought a mix of emotions, excitement for her father's opportunity, yet a deep sorrow for the life she was leaving behind. The move meant a new school, a new town, and worst of all, the loss of her spiritual support system. For the first time, Rebecca would not be surrounded by her friends who shared her values. Instead, she was about to enter the unknown world of public school. Public school was a shock to Rebecca's system. The bustling hallways of the public high school are a stark contrast to the quiet, orderly corridors of her former Christian academy. Lockers slam shut, laughter and chatter echo through the space, and Rebecca feels like a small boat lost in a stormy sea. She tightens her grip on her books, dodging students who seem to have their own rhythm, one she doesn't quite understand yet. The conversations she overheard, the behaviors she witnessed, and the values, or lack thereof, that were openly displayed were overwhelming. She had never been exposed to such an environment, and soon she found herself struggling with emotions and temptations she had once been able to resist so easily. Then she met Tyler. His easygoing charm and bright, mischievous eyes immediately caught Rebecca's attention. There was something different about him, something that made her heart skip a beat for the first time. He was kind, charismatic, and unlike anyone she had ever known. Before she realized it, Rebecca had a boyfriend. It was thrilling, a whole new experience filled with excitement and discovery. But with it came a set of challenges she hadn't faced before. Tyler didn't share her faith. Though he respected her beliefs, he didn't fully understand them. And as their relationship deepened, so did the temptations. Rebecca found herself in a battle between her faith and the pressures of the world. The Bible had always been her guide, and she recalled the words of 1 Corinthians 6 verse 18. Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. But what did that mean in real life, in moments of weakness and desire? Feeling lost and overwhelmed, Rebecca recalled someone who had always been a source of wisdom and comfort. Her Grandma Rose. Fortunately, Grandma Rose lived nearby, having moved to the same state years ago. Desperate for guidance, Rebecca arranged to spend the weekend with her. Grandma Rose welcomed her with open arms, offering the warmth of familiarity and love. They attended church together, and afterward, settled down for a cozy meal. Across from each other at the dinner table, the soft glow of a single lamp cast gentle shadows on the walls, setting a peaceful, reflective atmosphere. Rebecca couldn't hold it in any longer. She poured out her heart, her struggles, her growing feelings for Tyler, and the internal conflict about staying true to God's commandments. Grandma Rose listened with a quiet, compassionate understanding, her eyes never leaving Rebecca's face. When she spoke, her tone was gentle, yet firm, offering wisdom with the weight of years lived in faith. "Rebecca," she said softly, "you are not alone in this struggle. It's natural to have desires, but it is possible to obey God's commandments. The key is loving Jesus enough to stay committed to his ways." She continued, "I know this because I lived it. When I became a Christian, I chose to remain celibate. It wasn't easy. I had to constantly remind Jesus of his own commandment to stay pure. I told him, 'Lord, I want to honor you, but I need your help.' And you know what? He gave me the strength. Not only that, but 4 years later, he brought me the man who became my husband, and we remained pure until marriage." Rebecca listened, captivated by her grandmother's testimony. Grandma Rose leaned in and took Rebecca's hand. "Sweetheart, if you try to do this on your own, you will struggle. But if you rely on the Lord, he will give you the grace to stand strong. And another thing, who you choose to date matters. If one of you is committed to purity and the other isn't, there will be a constant struggle. You must be on the same page. You must be resolute in your decision and depend on the Lord for strength." That evening, Rebecca sat alone on the porch swing, the cool night air brushing against her face as she gazed up at the stars. The peaceful silence of the countryside stood in stark contrast to the turmoil swirling in her mind. But as she closed her eyes and whispered a quiet prayer, a sense of clarity began to settle over her like a calm wave. Her grandmother's words echoed in her heart, filling the space that had once been uncertain with peace. She knew now that she had a choice to make. She could follow the world's ways, or she could stand firm in her faith. As the cool breeze stirred around her, Rebecca thought about the words of 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 3-5. It is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable. In that moment, Rebecca made a firm decision. She would not compromise her faith for a fleeting feeling. With God's help, she would remain strong and honor her convictions. She would have an honest conversation with Tyler about her beliefs, and if he could not respect them, she would walk away. As she hugged Grandma Rose goodbye, Rebecca whispered with deep gratitude, "Thank you, Grandma. I know now that I'm not alone in this. With God's help, I can do this." And with that, Rebecca returned home, ready to stand firm in her faith, knowing that she was never walking this path alone. The car ride home was quiet, but Rebecca's heart was filled with peace. The city skyline loomed in the distance, marking her return to reality. Yet this time, she was ready. She was no longer afraid. She was resolute, her mind made up. Rebecca knew her journey was far from over. There would still be struggles, temptations, and moments of doubt. But now, she had a renewed strength in the Lord. She understood that purity wasn't about sheer willpower alone. It was about leaning on God's grace, trusting in His strength to carry her through. Rebecca and Tyler walked through the park, the golden light of the setting sun casting a warm glow on everything around them. A cool breeze rustled the autumn leaves as they strolled along a quiet path, the world around them peaceful and still. Tyler broke the silence. "It's nice just being out here with you. Sometimes school feels so crazy, but this is peaceful." Rebecca smiled, feeling the same sense of calm. "Yeah, I like spending time with you too, Tyler." She hesitated, taking a deep breath. "But there's something I need to talk to you about." Tyler raised an eyebrow, sensing the seriousness in her tone. "That sounds serious. What's up?" Rebecca's heart raced, but she pressed on. "I really care about you, Tyler. But Jesus is the most important part of my life. I've made a commitment to stay pure until marriage." Tyler paused, kicking at a leaf with his shoe. "I get that. I mean, I knew you were really religious, but I didn't know it meant that much to you." Rebecca nodded, her voice steady. "It does. And I need to be with someone who understands that and respects it. I just wanted to be honest with you." Tyler glanced at her thoughtfully, his expression softening. "Rebecca, I respect you, and I'd never pressure you into anything. I just hope, I don't know, that this doesn't change how you feel about us." Rebecca smiled gently, her heart lightened by his response. "It doesn't change how I feel about you, but it does set a boundary that's important to me, and I need to know if you can truly respect that." Tyler paused, thinking carefully before offering a small smile. "I can respect it, but I just need to be honest too. This is new to me. I'll try though. For you." Rebecca felt a wave of relief wash over her. She nodded, her smile warm. "That means a lot, Tyler. Thank you." As they continued their walk, side by side, Rebecca felt a deep sense of peace. No matter what challenges lay ahead, she knew Jesus would give her the strength to remain faithful, and that gave her the courage to face whatever came next. 1 Corinthians 6:13, 18-20. You say, "Food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both." The body, however, is not meant for sexual immorality but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies.